So I don't normally record these intros with the headphones still on, but I was just in the process of trying to record some games so that I could showcase the Item Sorcerer, and I decided, hey, I will play 3 games because I'm going to make a video on Item Sorcerer here soon, and I would just, throw the 3 games on at the end like I typically do for those videos and call it good. First 2 went fine, we got some wins, had some good times, played against Swoter, all is well. And then I got to the 3rd game, and I just feel like I need to record a reaction because this is a game scenario that I kind of predicted was going to happen. And now that it has happened, and now that I actually have like video proof of what could potentially happen, I feel like it's my duty to record what my initial thoughts and feelings are, and then showcase that game separately. So I'm still going to post the Item Sorcerer deck spotlight, and I'll attach the 2 games that I played previous to this one to the end of that. But this one we're going to do separate. So when Heroic Rebirth debuted, one of my biggest complaints was not that the card was overpowered, but just that it fed a particular narrative that I felt like could be detrimental to new players. So for those of us who are Legends veterans, we know that this game doesn't have very many RNG effects that decide games, and the ones that do exist are still within a relatively reasonable amount of variance. But my concern was at the time, and I want to echo it again here, is that as we get new players trying out the game for the first time, as we get people who are coming from Hearthstone, specifically people who may not be fans of a lot of RNG effects, I felt like there was a danger in printing Heroic Rebirth when they did, because we already had some things that were kind of hot button topics with new players already. So usually, prior to Heroic Rebirth, the big 2 that would receive complaints are Prophecy, right? Just because it's a new mechanic and it's going to feel like it's RNG, and we know it's a polarizing issue, right? So Prophecy is usually what I would call a feels bad RNG moment. Even though, again, I don't think that it's true RNG, and I've done videos on it, but I'm just talking about the perspective of a new player, right? Try to empathize with the new player. Prophecy creates feels bad moments. Mundus Stone, and I have even been on record in the past as like defending Mundus Stone because you can at least, for the most part, try to play around it. It's a unique one of. There's plenty of support removal in the format right now, even though I think there probably could be a little bit more. It's a 1 in 7 chance or less, so you can at least kind of do the quick math in your head. But as we all know, it also creates some games that are just unwinnable, and when that happens, it feels like horrible RNG, right? It's a feels bad moment. So that's number 2. And then my fear was that Heroic Rebirth was going to create yet another scenario where you were getting these like feels bad RNG moments because you had no idea of knowing what your opponent was getting, and that they might get cards that were, just the right fit at the right time. And as a player who's on the receiving end of those, it's probably not going to feel like that was a skillful like win or loss. So that was my big concern, right? That you were potentially piling on these effects. Well, I just played the game that literally had it come to fruition. I had a guy hit a Prophecy health pot when he was at 10 to take him back to 15, that he follows up with a creature from Heroic Rebirth that gets drained from Mundus Stone, followed by pretty much every other creature he plays getting drained from Mundus Stone to allow him to stabilize and wipe my board. And so my initial reaction is that felt really bad. Now I'm sure that, a week from now, right, I'll have backed it up, rationalized it in my brain, I will have calmed down. But as somebody who is very frequently a defender of those mechanics in Elder Scrolls Legends, I felt like it was important that I capture my reaction to said loss now as like a time capsule moment, because this is the way new players are going to be feeling. And so I hope that the devs understand that first impressions are important, And if I were a new player and I just ran into this, I would feel pretty bad about what just happened. Now I get that as you watch this clip, this is not something that's going to happen often. In fact, this won't even happen in 1 in 100 games. This is probably a 1 in 500 or 1 in 1000 type scenario, because I have to play against this specific deck with these specific cards that draw them and get these outcomes. Like, I'm aware we are talking about very low percent chances of this occurring on the regular, but it only takes like one time to leave that bad taste in somebody's mouth and potentially drive away new players. And that was my biggest red flag about Heroic Rebirth, and it's my biggest red flag about the other like RNG mechanics. Again, I've been on record saying I think RNG in card games is important. Variance in card games is important. If you don't have that, you're just playing solitaire or chess, or you know, not something that creates a dynamic gameplay experience the way card games do. So I don't want this to feel like anti-RNG, but I just want this to be something that captures how I feel in the moment as a time capsule, because I'm generally a pretty rational person. If you've ever watched me or watched my videos or whatever, I'm generally pretty rational, but this is the perfect time for me to say, hey, this just happened, here's the video evidence of it, and it did not feel good. And if it didn't feel good to me, who's normally rational and is a veteran of the game, I just want you guys to be aware and weary that this could happen to new players and drive them away. So, I guess, without further ado, here is the clip. Enjoy my agony. Alright, here we go. Spell Sword. We are going second against Spell Sword. This could be a real test. As good as this guy is, I don't think we keep him in the opener. The other two seem fine. This could be a real test for us, if only because all of our ward creatures and our like big health creatures kind of don't matter against Spell Sword, with the exception of say Crushing Blow. Most of their removal just hard counters us. It's Executes, it's Edict, it's Piercing Javelin. So like already here we're going to be
by the
crossing our
8th
fingers
they will meet their makers.
that he doesn't have an Execute, because if we can surviving Tome it, then we can get him out of Execute range.
The waters of life.
So you know he's on ramp version of Spell Sword. There is a control version that does not necessarily run ramp. So let's go ahead and pop this guy up.
Shall take
Some
you.
damage in. And by sneak, I mean come crashing through the opening gate. But hooray, we have items. If we can find some gardeners, could be good for us. Biggest problem with this matchup is they run a lot of guard. They got a lot of ways to
The waters
stabilize.
of life.
We really have to play
Feed and bleed.
the value side. And the worst part is now that he's done this, hey, ask and you shall receive. Not enough to get that action going though. Now that he's done this, we kind of are almost to the point where we can't even lane stack. Like, Immolating Blast is already alive, and we're like 2 turns away from him being able to just Dawn's Wrath this side, which is no bueno. This was ironically a pretty good opener for him. I know it's super, like, irresponsible, but I almost just want to tome this again and then swing. Because the alternative would be to, like, Wind Keep and then Firebolt one of those, which feels lackluster. I think we save the Mace for when we have Gardener. Ideally, it's also nice to save Tome for when we have Gardener, so this guy kind of makes sense.
Shall
right.
take you.
Let's do that.
By Arcade's beard, this stay will be mine.
I'll take it back. Let's not Firebolt one of those yet. We might need the Firebolt to help push some damage through, like, a Hive Defender or something silly.
Feed and bleed.
There's that hard removal that we were fearing. feels like kind of a waste to just double mace those. And as such, I actually think we're going to ally.
Let's shed some light on the problem.
Found you!
Should have swung first and then an ally. I do think we probably use double. Well, no, if he wants to swing, that's fine. I think we hold on to him. So hard. Like, I want to get them off the board so that I don't have to, like, double lane stack. Like, ideally, I'd like to pop the Gardener down here the next turn, because with Dawn's Wrath looming. But if he's going to have Dawn's Wrath, he has it live next turn anyway. But if I don't play these now, then I'm, like, always fighting against myself in terms of saturation. I think we're just going to do it. This is probably a play mistake. If you're watching, don't try this at home. That is probably a waste or an abuse of Firebolts, but I would really like to kind of clear that lane up, at least temporarily, so that I can pop a guy down there.
I would protect the Hist.
Dawn's Wrath and other such things are an annoying issue. Well, Mundus Stone is also an annoying issue, and we have no Shadowfen Priest for it.
By bark and roots.
Surprised by that play as well. Okay. So we have Gardener and Tome if we use the ring. Or we could do Gardener, Blacksmith, and Mace if we use the ring. So the Mace doesn't technically really, like, shackle anything. So we still have to plow both of those into that, which is the same thing that the Tome was doing. But the Tome would let us draw 2 cards as well. Maybe dig for either a Priest or some more reach. And as such, I'm a fan of options, so I think that's the way that we're gonna go.
You'd best stay on the marked path.
Confound you!
I have you now.
See, I'm gonna save the Firebolt. Alright, we did not find a Priest. We do have a Black Room Necromancer, though, which can get us either Daggerfall Mage or the Cunning Ally that just died back. So that might be relevant next turn. As could potentially be a crazy Blacksmith double mace play had he not just nuked our guy. So barring something like ridiculous here, we're probably gonna Necromancer. Trades out something. At least now we know we are dealing with Heroic Rebirth. Ain't that some shenanigans? None of the things that we could get back are going to change our game plan, so we'll go ahead and swing and then Necromancer.
Feel my power!
And we got
Let's
an ally
shed some
back.
light
Did
on the
trigger.
problem.
Kind of hoping for the Gardener just because of the double mace play. As long as he's not popping up big guards, we're in a really good spot because we have a pretty ridiculous amount of shackle in hand. The real problem right now is guards. We don't have a way to go around them without priest. Hey, speak to the devil. A big guard. But we did get a Gardener.
You'd best stay on the marked path.
I'm just wondering if it's overcommitting into a potential Into a potential Dawn's Wrath if I also do this.
A strong arm is what you need.
I'm gonna go with it for now.
Confound you!
Probably a Javelin, which will not bode well for us. That also kind of doesn't bode well for us, if I'm being honest. Pass for now. Healing Potion's a problem just because we need to keep a clock on him. He's got a lot of ways to stabilize.
I hate this crowd.
Oh,
It's damned uncomfortable.
hi King, and I got a Drain as well. Oh, the Fruits of Heroic Rebirth. So that's clearly not a card that we were playing around. It was a really big bummer that he got drained because that meant he gained the health from shooting our guy. That is 2 quality.
You must be
drain
cleansed.
cards. That got guard from Mundus Stone. Okay. So this would get us 2 tomes. If there was ever a game that just made you want to like rage at RNG, this is probably it. We're dealing with an RNG Heroic Rebirth and an RNG Mundus Stone, giving him kind of all of the answers that somebody could want. Well, we're stuck in a spot where we kind of have to like double shackle, realistically. We're also not in a good spot where something can trade into this and survive. So I think, as sad as it makes me, we have to bolt here.
Do not test me!
Found you!
And try to drive some damage home. Because as I said before, the healing potion sucked, and so has him just getting drained.
Your storm is no match for mine!
He gets drained. Okay.
May the hist aid me.
There's a 1 in 7 chance of getting drained that he has hit 3 times in a row. And that is game. Like, there is legitimately nothing I can do about that. Like, even if I play Supreme Atromancer here, he has lethal on the board, and he's going to gain so much health that it doesn't matter. So, if you're looking for an example of a game where RNG is a nightmare, right? If you're looking at a hey, is this game at all like Hearthstone? Most of the time not, but this makes it feel that way. Alright, I guess we attempt to play to our outs.
There's
So
life in this
theoretically,
whole thing. Yeah.
this will draw some cards. And theoretically, we can do that, and we're gonna have to pop this ward off at some point if we don't have any hard removal. So we'll do that. So we're not dead, but we're not gonna win. I should concede, but I mean, at this point, it's kind of principle. I want to see exactly how
me
broken
take out
the
the
rolls can continue to go, right? Alright, rerolled something else with Heroic Rebirth. What did we get?
Now you will see
Cascade?
real power.
Oh, it's not going to show me. We're going to say Flood Magic Lord.
The waters of life.
Oh, but those two got drained. So, 1 in 7 chance on the old keyword thing. He has had 6 things enter play, 5 of which have drain.
Come dance with a master!
And we, again, legitimately, I don't think have an out, right? Even if we hit on both of these.
Let's shed some light on the problem.
Firebolt here now. Just trying to figure out if there's even a way where we can not die yet, because I want to see one more turn of shenanigans. And by shenanigans, I mean rage-inducing RNG. 3, 6, 7. We got the whole world in our hands. Alright, so theoretically, we're not dead yet. Theoretically.
Let's shed some light on the problem.
It's also a waste of a firebolt, but at this point, it doesn't matter.
Your blood will feed my magic!
Okay, now we're done. Well, that was fun. That felt skillful. We're highlighting that one.